Have you ever heard of hell? A place of punishment, fire, screams. Carl Jung wasn't afraid of that kind of place. He feared something much quieter, something colder. Places inside of you, places that no one sees, but where souls dissolve in silence. Have you ever been to a dark place inside yourself? A place where everything feels like a dead end, where thoughts spin in circles and silence screams louder than any voice. Maybe you know someone like that. Someone who doesn't smile like they used to. Someone who avoids deep conversations or gets lost in distractions trying to escape something, but can't. Carl Jung wasn't interested in fear itself. He didn't warn us about horned demons or punishments after death. He warned us about the real hells, the ones we create within ourselves, the ones we ignore, the ones we build in silence, with every repressed truth, every wound avoided, every lie we tell ourselves. Jung believed the human psyche was a vast landscape, not just thoughts and emotions, but entire inner worlds. Some of these places are safe, others are traps. He called them shadows, complexes, divisions of the soul. And he said, what you don't bring to consciousness will manifest in your life as fate. In this video, we'll explore the 7 inner places that Jung would beg you to avoid, because the worst hell isn't the one out there. It's the one you carry inside, silently. Let this video be a map, a guide, not to scare you, but to protect you from what you haven't yet seen inside of you. It doesn't start as fear, it starts as exhaustion, but not the kind that sleep fixes. It's an exhaustion of the soul, a silent weight, a subtle detachment, as if you're present but distant, doing what you always do, saying what you always say. But something inside feels out of place. This is how these places seduce you, not with pain, but with numbness. Jung warned, what we repress doesn't disappear. It waits. And when it accumulates enough energy, it starts shaping your moods, your habits, your life. You think you're tired, but you're not. You're disconnected from your desires, from your truth, from parts of yourself you once silenced, because the world told you they were too much or not enough. Jung believed that all unlived life lives in the shadow, and those fragments eventually start haunting you, not with ghosts, but with indecision, with self-sabotage, with an emptiness that quietly conquers and no success can fill. This is the true danger. Waking up one day and realizing you're living a life that isn't yours, playing a version of yourself that pleases everyone except you. This is the first dangerous place, the place where you forget who you are. Jung called this the loss of the soul. Not in a religious sense, but a psychological one, a disconnection so deep that your essence becomes a stranger, and the more you ignore it, the more this absence starts rotting everything around you. Most people don't realize they're inside one of Jung's warnings, because it doesn't feel like a fire. It feels like indecision. It feels like knowing what you want, but never taking the next step. You say you want love, but run from intimacy. You say you want success, but procrastinate until the opportunity fades away. You want peace, but surround yourself with chaos. Jung described this as psychic fragmentation. And this is the second dangerous place. It's when the conscious self and the unconscious self move in opposite directions. You say you want peace, but continue choosing environments that fuel chaos. Why? Indeed, because deep down, something unresolved whispers, you don't deserve it. It's not safe to change. It's better to fail by choice than risk being seen. These thoughts aren't random. They're messages from the shadow. Old patterns, inherited shames, unhealed beliefs that still have power. And here's the trap. Procrastination isn't a lack of will, it's an unconscious defense. You delay the next step, not because of laziness, but because, on some level, success also scares you. Imagine someone who spends months planning a project but never launches it, or someone who desires a deep relationship but runs away at the first sign of vulnerability. Psychic fragmentation turns desire into fear, dreams into threats, and the more you run, the more the shadow grows. Carl Jung didn't believe that evil was always loud. In fact, he believed that the most dangerous things within us are usually silent. They come disguised as comfort, routine, avoidance, and above all, repression. According to Jung, your psyche isn't just a conscious mind making decisions. It's a living, vast structure, full of desires, instincts, memories, and potentials you haven't claimed yet. And the parts of yourself you deny don't disappear, they sink into what he called the shadow, the unconscious part that holds everything you've exiled. The shadow, according to Jung, is the hidden side of the psyche, what we repress, deny, or don't want to see in ourselves. It's not evil by nature, but it operates in the dark, shaping our behaviors without our awareness. Your anger, your jealousy, your vulnerability, your unmet needs. Not because you're bad, but because someone at some point taught you that these parts weren't acceptable. Society shaped you, family expectations shaped you, trauma shaped. You'd done everything that didn't fit the image of who you thought you should be, you buried. Jung believed that this is how people fragment. They build an identity, a mask, based on what's safe to show, but in doing so, they abandon what's most vital, and when the shadow is ignored for too long, it doesn't stay buried. It comes back, distorted, as compulsive behaviors, as exaggerated emotional reactions, as sabotaged relationships, as an emptiness that no logic can explain. This is the third dangerous place Jung warned us about, the place where your shadow controls your life. Without your permission, Jung called this being possessed by the unconscious. Imagine making decisions, building relationships, planning your life, while a deeper hidden part of you pulls the strings. This shows up as procrastination, perfectionism, as self-sabotage just before success. But behind all of this, there's a part of you screaming, "See me." The shadow doesn't want control, it wants integration. Jung said we must bring the shadow to light, not destroy it, but face it, accept it. Because the parts of you that you fear most may be the ones trying hardest to protect you. And Isheda, if you don't find them willingly, they will find you in collapses, crises, and failures. Not to punish you, but to awaken you. Jung warned, what you reject in yourself becomes your saboteur, not out of cruelty, but out of fear. So you abandon yourself before anyone else does. You extinguish your light before someone tries to put it out. You shrink just enough to be accepted, even if it means suffocating yourself. And it works for a while, until the soul begins to rebel. That's when the symptoms appear. A tiredness that rest can't cure, an apathy that success can't satisfy, an anxiety that no diagnosis can name. You're not lazy, you're not broken, you're divided, and until that fracture is healed, even your dreams will feel heavy. They can become a prison. When your soul still carries open wounds, this is the fourth dangerous place. The weight of carrying desires you're not whole enough to live. You've ever dreamed of a beautiful home, but can't imagine yourself living there. You've ever wanted true love, But fear being exposed, criticized, rejected, the dream becomes a burden, because fulfilling it would require a new you, and the old version of yourself still screams. Unlived desires don't disappear. They turn into invisible chains. The mind says go, but the soul weighs you down. Jung called this internal division the great neurosis of modern man. The disease of living a life out of alignment with the true self. How many times have you dreamed big and sabotaged yourself before even starting? Because inside of you, there's still a part that doesn't trust, doesn't feel worthy, doesn't feel safe. And so your biggest dreams become burdens, not because they're wrong, but because you still need to heal in order to carry them. Sometimes the absence of conflict is just the presence of numbness. You call it peace, but it's anesthesia. This is the fifth dangerous place, comfort that hides stagnation. Imagine the habit of waking up every day at the same time, taking the same route, having the same conversations. The routine doesn't hurt, but it doesn't inspire either. You call it stability, but it's stagnation. Boredom disguises itself as peace. Silence disguises itself as acceptance, and life passes by while the soul wilts. Routines that seem safe but drain your soul. Relationships that don't hurt but don't nourish you either. Realistic goals that only exist to keep you small. Jung said, "What we avoid confronting externally inevitably returns internally." Imagine someone sitting in front of a computer, staring at a blank screen. The cursor blinks, waiting for the start of an important project. Days ago, this person spoke to friends about their big plans: write a book, start a business, change careers. But now they're sitting there motionless. Time passes, and the cursor keeps blinking. They open a motivational video, searching for inspiration, but every encouraging word sounds empty. They get up, walk around the house, look in the mirror, but avoid their own gaze. The mind says, "You need to start," but something deeper whispers, "What if it's not good enough? What if you fail? Better not to try." This is the first echo of the shadow, self-sabotage. Desire turns into threat. Then they decide to do something productive. Tidy the desk, organize the bookshelf, answer emails that could wait. Another day passes, another opportunity slips away. This is the second echo of the shadow. Stagnation disguised as peace. Everything is in order, but nothing moves. At night, they lie in bed, look at the ceiling. Outside, the city sleeps. Inside, an emptiness grows. What happened to the dreams, to the passion, to the person they used to be? This is the third echo of the shadow, the weight of unlived desires. They're not tired, they're divided between the person they wish to be and the person the shadow convinced them they'll never be. You smile, you function, but you don't feel alive. This is the sixth dangerous place, the persona, the mask you wear to survive. At first, it's a protection, a way to be accepted, to avoid conflict, to fit in. But over time, what was a tool becomes a prison. You start saying what others want to hear, hiding what you really feel, until the mask becomes more real than your own face. And when the mask solidifies, the soul hides, the persona, the mask you wear to survive, created out of necessity, sustained by fear. But over time, it keeps you from feeling. Jung believed that the persona was inevitable, a role everyone plays to navigate the world. But the danger lies in forgetting that it's just a role. You become the version of yourself that pleases everyone, except you. You're the good employee, the perfect partner, the reliable friend. But deep down, you feel like a stranger in your own skin. And the more that mask solidifies, the harder it is to remember who you really are. Pain arises when the persona doesn't just hide the true self, but suffocates it. You lose touch with your own desires, your true passions, your unlived dreams. This is the seventh dangerous place, the place where you've left parts of yourself behind. Jung called it loss of soul. When the true self is abandoned in the name of acceptance, you look at the life you've built and no longer recognize yourself. You live to meet external expectations, but the emptiness persists. Individuation, according to Jung, is the process of reclaiming these lost parts, rescuing the child that was silenced, the teenager that hid, the adult that settled. It's a return to the authentic self, and that return requires courage. It requires descending into the unconscious, confronting the shadows, integrating the pieces left behind. The place where you've left parts of yourself behind, the child that was silenced, the teenager that hid, the adult that settled. Jung said that the healing process is not an escape, it's a return. You do not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. This is the call: descend, confront, integrate, not to destroy your shadow, but to dialogue with it. So, have you ever been to any of these dangerous places? Share your experience with us. There is no shortcut out of the shadow. Jung was clear. You do not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. This is the return, not an escape, not denial, but a descent into the places you feared the most. The places that you now know were never evil, just abandoned. Jung called this process individuation, the journey to becoming whole, integrating all that you are, not just what's acceptable. And it doesn't start with strength, it starts with honesty. Ask yourself, where am I lying to myself? What parts of me do I still feel ashamed of? Who did I have to become to survive, and am I still that person? The return requires slowing down, listening, sitting with discomfort, without rushing to fix it. Because the parts of you that sabotage, that resist, that shrink back, aren't trying to ruin your life. They're trying to protect you from pain that was never processed. And they'll keep running the show until you finally face them. Jung believed that the unconscious speaks through symbols, through dreams, through patterns. And the moment you stop treating your symptoms as failures and start seeing them as messages, healing begins. Insight. By insight, the goal isn't to be perfect, it's to be integrated. You don't need to destroy the shadow, you need to make it your ally. And recognize that anger you keep hiding. It could be your boundary trying to speak. That procrastination you hate, it could be your inner child terrified of failing again. That sadness you numb. It could be your soul weeping for the years you didn't fully live. Jung taught that we must descend, like Orpheus, into the underworld. But with one difference. We don't go to bring someone back. We go to bring ourselves back from the parts we left behind. In silence, that is the return. It's not a happy ending, it's a beginning, more honest, more human, more whole, and little by little. The 7 places you once feared most become rooms you've already visited, not to live in them, but to learn from them. You leave them, not unscathed, but transformed. Now you've seen it, the 7 places Jung warned us about. Not physical, but psychological. Not somewhere out there, but within you. And maybe you recognize one. A pattern, a wound, a silence that no longer feels like peace. If that's the case, it doesn't mean you're broken, it means you're waking up. Jung didn't tell us to fear these places, he told us to respect them because they hold power. And if you have the courage to enter them consciously, you might discover that what you were missing wasn't light, but wholeness. If this reflection touched something you never knew how to explain, leave a comment with just 3 words. I see this. And if you feel that you're not alone on this journey, you're right. This space, this channel, exists for souls like yours. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like, and help us keep bringing content like this. Because we're not here to run from the darkness, we're here to walk through it together